Are you into new and shiny suburbs, but all the shiny areas up north don't quite work for you? Like you love the feeling of new construction that Frisco has, but maybe you're commuting from Fort Worth or Arlington, and an hour-long commute, that's asking a bit much. Well, listen, you're in luck because today I'm going to tell you about a city south of Dallas that is absolutely bursting at the seams with new construction. You know what? So today, let's talk about Midlothian. Hi everyone, my name is Wendy Pinnell and I am a realtor and a broker with On Track Realty. Tell you what, real estate is a big deal here in Texas, and it's a pretty big deal in our household too. Like we have 4 realtors in our family. Yeah, 4. We have my husband Dale, our son Blake, and our daughter Bree. So when you think On Track Realty, think Pinnell, or think Move to Texas Guide, because that's who we are. Now, we all know by now, if you want new and shiny, you can find it north of Dallas, right? In places like Frisco or Melissa. But, that's way up north. So what if you work in Fort Worth or Arlington? Well, listen, the good news is there are literally hundreds of new construction homes that are just a quick commute from Fort Worth and Arlington. You're going to find them in Grand Prairie. You'll find them in Mansfield, but by far, you're going to find your biggest selection in Midlothian. So today, let's talk about Midlothian. Okay, my goal in this video, right, is to give you like a bird's eye view of these new construction communities. Just kind of an overview to give you an idea of what's out there. But if it sounds really interesting, to you and you want to get a little more information, listen, stick around to the end of the video, okay? Because I'm going to tell you how you can get a free copy of our Midlothian construction guide. Okay. So, of the communities we're going to talk about today, one of those is going to be west of Highway 67, okay? So you've got Highway 67 here. One of those is going to be on this side, and all of the rest of those are going to be on the east side. Okay, so of the ones on the east side, 3 of those are going to be north of 287, and the rest of them are going to be south of 287. Now, the cool thing about these communities is that each of them have several builders, right? And I love that because it's going to give you more selection of all different kinds of home types and floor plans. Okay, like for example, Prairie Ridge has 4 different builders, right? So if you're absolutely in love with Prairie Ridge, right? And you love all that it has to offer, you've got a lot of builders and a lot of floor plans to choose from. Okay, now, before we get started, I really want you to take just a minute to think about what's important to you, in a new construction home and community, right? Because you're looking at 2 things, right? You're looking at the home and you're looking at the community. So I just want you to stop for a minute and let's really kind of go through that and think about that. Okay, so for example, something you might want to think about is like, is construction just now starting in this new community, right? What are the benefits of that? Well, you get dibs, right? You can drive around and you can pick the best lot in the area for yourself, right? So that's an option. Otherwise, you might want a community that's almost finished, where you're picking out the last lot or the last few lots. What's beneficial of that? Well, you don't have all those construction vehicles in and out, right? And all those strangers in your neighborhood. So those are 2 things already to think about when you're interested, in new construction, okay? What's another one? Well, obviously affordability, right? Okay, and let's kind of define affordability in Midlothian new construction, right? Okay, so this is kind of what you're gonna see. The very bottom range in Midlothian for new construction is gonna be right around like $355,000, okay? And then it's gonna go on up from there. So you're gonna hear me reference in several of these neighborhoods that they're affordable. And listen, I get it, that affordability is subjective, and $350,000 may not be affordable, or it may be and you can do a whole lot more. So just kind of know that's another consideration, affordability. Okay, here's another one, size of lot. All right, a lot of these communities that we're going to talk about today, a lot of them are going to have that really small, 1/10 of an acre. But there's a few of them, that are going to go up to like a ½ acre. And then we're going to talk about one that goes all the way up to 2 acres, right? So be thinking about that too. Okay, another consideration. can you start from the ground up with your own design? For most of these, you're going to have your builder, right? And they're going to offer you several floor plans. They may have like 8 different floor plans, but ultimately you don't really get to pick one from the ground up. Okay. However, a couple of the ones we're going to talk about will. Okay. They are custom areas right where you can. So that's just another thing that you want to think about, as you're processing this idea that you want new construction. Okay. Another thing, another issue you might want to think about is what kind of amenities do you want in the neighborhood? Or do you really want amenities at all, right? Okay, because you might just want it to feel just like an ordinary neighborhood, no bells and whistles. But so you've got that on this side, but over here you've got this idea of a huge, massive amount of amenities, right? And today we're going to talk about neighborhoods with both extremes. So kind of be thinking about that as well, Okay, some other things to think about, right? So boy, I'm probably this is probably information overload, okay? But really and truly, when you think about new construction, these are all the things that you need to think about. So I don't know, maybe get a pencil and write it down. Okay, another thing that you really want to think about is closeness to highways and closeness to schools, okay? Because we're going to reference that in the videos we talk about today too. Some of them are going to be right close to the highway, and if you're already facing a long commute, 5 minutes from the highway could be a huge deciding factor for you, okay? And we're going to talk about some others, right, where they're really close to schools. There are 1 or 2 where literally they're smack dab in the middle, with elementary, intermediate, and high school all right there, right? So if that's an important consideration, hey, there's a new subdivision for you on that one as well. So you can see just a lot there to think about, and again, maybe write that down as you're thinking about, which community you want to pick, because these are all important things to think about. I think it's easy, to just kind of go out on a Sunday afternoon and drive from construction office to construction office without really thinking into this list of things you might want. Okay, but here's the problem with that. Within a year or 2, you're already wanting to move again, right? So really take the time, kind of go through that list that I just gave you, because then maybe you can settle down and you won't be feeling this is not what I wanted and wanting to move, just a few years down the line. Okay, so let's go ahead, and dig into these new construction communities, right? Okay, the first one I want to tell you about is Prairie Ridge. Okay, so now Prairie Ridge is unique in its location. It's the one that I was telling you about that's west of Highway 67. Because really Midlothian is primarily considered, to be east of 67. So Prairie Ridge is the only one today that I'm going to talk about that's actually west of 67. Okay, so let's kind of dig into Prairie Ridge. What do you need to know about Prairie Ridge? Well, Prairie Ridge would be one of the ones you would consider as an affordable option, right? Because they do have floor plans under $400,000. And like I said, this one is going to be located west of 67. It's close to 287 and the 360 tollway, okay? So what do the prices look like in Prairie Ridge? Well, you're going to see it starting right about $357,000 all the way up to the $770,000, right? Okay, and again, this one is kind of different because it's on that western side, kind of off on its own. Now, the cool thing about Prairie Ridge, okay, of all the ones I'm going to tell you about today, this is the one with the most to offer the community, right? The one thing they say about it is they really intend for it to be like its own small town, okay? This is definitely what you would call a master plan community. Now, Prairie Ridge is one of those that's not finished with construction yet, okay? So this is one where you could still have your pick of lots, but with that comes, a lot of construction vehicles and such. Okay, so you have 4 builders in Prairie Ridge, all right? You've got Beezer, MI Homes, Grand Homes, and Trophy Homes. Okay, now in this subdivision, you're going to find really small lots, okay? Because what they've done is they've made these small lots and then they've given you a lot of common area, okay? So lot sizes here, we're talking 0.14, to 0.2, okay? So less than 2/10 of an acre, so pretty tiny, but with that comes the trade-off of all this common area. Okay, so what can you expect in this common area? Well, they've got plans for private and public parks, okay? Stocked ponds for fishing. You're gonna find hiking and biking trails. Oh, and get this, a resort-style pool complete with cabanas, okay? Are you sold on this? Because it sounds pretty awesome. Okay, they're planning on some ginormous, is that even a word, ginormous? Anyway, they're planning on some huge playgrounds that have both big kid and little kid areas. Also, Midlothian is planning on actually putting an elementary school right in the middle of it, okay? So that'll give you great, close walking distance. Okay, so why might you choose Prairie Ridge? Well, I think the big selling point on Prairie Ridge is it's going to have a lot to offer, right? All of those amenities for the community. You know, another big selling point is that it's close to 360 and 287, right? So this is your tiny bit of Midlothian where you get those fantastic Midlothian schools, you know, but you're also way west, you know, if you've got that commute to Fort Worth or Arlington. So this one, location-wise, you know, is unique compared to the other ones we're going to talk about today. You know, so it's kind of got its own little town feeling and a great location. You know, I think so if you're thinking about Prairie Ridge, I think those are some things you're really going to take into consideration. Okay, moving on to the subdivisions north of 287, let's talk about the Grove. Okay, so the Grove is going to be, again, one of your more affordable options. It is north of 287, right? So we talked about there are 3 that are north of 287, you know, and the rest are going to be south of 287. Okay, so this is one of your options, you know, that's north of 287. You know, and it does have floor plans and houses, you know, under 400,000, right? So if affordability is important to you, you know, the Grove is a good fit. So there are 3 builders in the Grove, okay? You have Bloomfield, D.R. Horton, and John Houston Homes. Okay, now I want to tell you something though about Bloomfield. So what is different about Bloomfield? Okay, well, according to their website, they have a price guarantee, right? And most of these other builders, they don't have that, right? So, you know, when you buy a home, you're going to have to use their contract, right? And most of these builders' contracts are going to say that they can raise the price between the time you ask for it to be built and the time it's built. They're going to say that they can raise the price if the price of materials go up. Okay, well, Bloomfield doesn't do that, and I think that's just a real advantage. Okay, so what they say on their website, you know, they say that, you know, even if construction costs rise, they're going to respect the contract, right? And they say, because we believe a deal is a deal, right? So that's unique to Bloomfield, so you might want to kind of keep that in mind. Okay, lot sizes in this community, mostly 2/10 of an acre. Okay, so this is another one, and really most of them are going to be that small backyard. Okay, so this is another one of those. Okay, you know, a few of them are 3/10 of an acre, but for the most part, you're going to find small backyards here. Okay, so why might you choose the Grove? Well, one thing that people really like about the Grove is that it's walking distance to Midlothian Heritage High School. They also really like that it has tree-lined streets, right? Because in these new construction communities, a lot of times you're not going to see those streets, right? So people like that about the Grove. Also, they have several cul-de-sacs and they back up to the green belt, some of the areas. So that's kind of a nice feature too. Okay, so turning the corner, you know, you've got the Grove. We're going to turn the corner now. We're going to talk about Massey Meadows. Okay, now Massey Meadows is located pretty close to the Grove, and it's also going to be north, right, of 287. Okay, so what do you need to know about Massey Meadows? Well, Massey Meadows only has one builder, okay, and that's Bloomfield Homes. You know, so keep in mind that price guarantee that I described before, you know, and that's all you're going to find is Bloomfield Homes in Massey Meadows. The lots in Massey Meadows range from like 0.15 to 0.3. So yet again, another community that's going to have those small lots, okay? You know, what do people like about Massey Meadows? They really like the location compared to the schools, okay? So the Long Branch Elementary School, just a couple of miles, you know, and then the Walnut Grove Middle School and the Heritage High School within walking distance, okay? So if that's important to you, you might really like Massey Meadows, okay? You know, what's another feature of Massey Meadows, you know, that people like? Well, Massey Meadows is kind of small. You know, it's just a couple streets, like maybe 5 or 6 streets, right? So, you know, if you compare that to Prairie Ridge, you know, Prairie Ridge is massive. And then you've got something like Massey Meadows, which is really going to feel just more like a traditional neighborhood, you know, kind of small. So not a lot of traffic, right? Not densely populated. You know, so that's another thing you might like about Massey Meadows. Okay, so I mentioned that there are 3 communities that are north of 287, okay? Well, I'm gonna save the third one for last because honestly, it's my favorite, okay? So now let's go ahead and go south of 287 and let's talk about all the communities that are south of 287, okay? And let me tell you right off the bat, there are some real perks to being located south of 287, okay? Because 287 and 663 have this beautiful, shiny new retail area, okay? You know, they've got everything from retail, grocery store, dining. So all of these subdivisions that are south of I-20, they're easy access to that. I mean, they're all like maybe 5 to 10 minutes from there. So that's a pretty big deal to have all of that shiny newness, like what you might find in Frisco, right? It's all right there, shiny and new. Okay, so let's talk about these communities south of 287, and let's start with Autumn Run, okay? Now, Autumn Run is another one of those communities where Bloomfield is the only builder, okay? Price range in Autumn Run is like $460,000 to $572,000. Okay, and so what do you need to know about Autumn Run? They are seriously at closeout point. You may or may not be lucky enough to find a home there, which might be great for you if you're like, I don't want to deal with these construction vehicles. Then Autumn Run, squeeze yourself in there, get that house, and know that that's it. You're not going to find these big, the noises and everything going through. Okay, what do people like about Autumn Run? Well, like I said, they love that it's, people might really like that it's all finished out, right? That there's just a few houses left. You can get about the business of feeling like you're in a regular neighborhood. Okay, what else do people like about Autumn Run? Well, this one, okay, you're going to have two that are really, really close to both the retail and the highway, 287, and Autumn Run is one of them. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to be able to run up to Kroger, and be there in 5 minutes, Autumn Run is great for that. And like I said too, if a commute is a big deal, and maybe you're already looking at like a 30-minute commute just on the highway, Autumn Run is great in that you're not going to add to that commute with a lot of stop and go, stop and go, stoplights. Now, with Autumn Run, you're not going to have that. You're going to be right there on that highway within just a few minutes. So people really like that too. Okay, so let's turn the corner and talk about Hawkins Meadows, right? Or instead of turn the corner, let's cross the street, okay? Because Hawkins Meadows is right across 663 from Autumn Run, okay? So who's the builder with Hawkins Meadows? Well, that one is being built by First Texas Homes, okay? Their price range is anywhere from like $445,000 to like $644,000, okay? So Hawkins Meadows has ponds and trails. Why might you choose Hawkins Meadows? Well, similar for why you would choose Autumn Run, right? Minutes to the highway, minutes to retail, 5 minutes, boom, and you're there, okay? So if you like that, if that convenience and that short distance is important to you, either Autumn Run or Hawkins Meadow could be really good fit for you. Okay, moving on to Wickliffe Manor. Okay, what is different about Wickliffe Manor? This is one of those communities that are custom homes, okay? So you're not gonna have like a builder who shows you, these are our floor plans. It's not like that, okay? Wickliffe Manor is all custom homes. So you're gonna choose the builder that you use. Now, they do have preferred builders, right? But there's still a lot of flexibility there. So Wickliffe Manor has, as of right now, about 40 lots remaining. They're gonna have like a clubhouse, pool, trails. Now, Wickliffe Manor is also gonna have alley entry garages, okay? So it kind of depends on what you like there, if you like that rear entry or the front entry. Cool thing I like about Wickliffe Manor, okay, is that even though it's a custom built neighborhood, right, where every house can be different and by a different builder, I really like that the HOA, is committed to preserving like the homogeneous nature. Because a lot of times in a custom built neighborhood, you don't get that, okay? You don't get that homogeneity because you've got all these different builders all building different homes, right? But I like that with Wickliffe Manor, you will get that. Okay, so why might you like Wickliffe Manor? Well, like I said, this is the first one we've talked about that builds the custom homes, right? So you can go, hey, I have a specific floor plan in line. All right, then you want to go to Wickliffe Manor. Okay, another thing, that people would really like about Wickliffe Manor is that all of the front yards are maintained by the HOA, right? So again, like what I said, even though these are custom built homes, there's going to be that similar nature to it because the front yards are all maintained by the HOA. Now, Wickliffe Manor is also close to the highway. It's not quite as close as the other two we talked about, but it is pretty close, maybe like a 5 to 10 minute drive at most. So there's just some really cool things. If you're looking specifically for custom homes, Wickliffe Manor could be a really great fit for you. Okay, moving on to the Villas of Somercrest. Okay, the Villas of Somercrest is in a similar area to Wickliffe Manor. The builder there is Perry Homes, right? So this one is not custom built homes, right? You're gonna have to pick a floor plan of Perry Homes. Okay, so the price range for the Villas of Somercrest starts at about like $475,000 and goes up to about like $635,000, okay? So what might people like about Villas of Somercrest? Why might they choose it? Well, it's in an area that's not quite as densely populated, right? So maybe not as much traffic. It's close to the highway, reasonably close, not as close as the others, but it's reasonably close. And it backs to undeveloped land, and it's a gated community. So if all of those things are important to you, and it just so happens maybe that you love the floor plans of Perry homes, Villas of Somercrest would be a really good fit for you. Okay, going even further south, let's talk about Dove Creek, okay? Dove Creek has some affordable options, right? They have several floor plans under $400,000. Their prices range from like $382,000 to about like $512,000. Now, Dove Creek is almost finished out. So again, if you want a community where you don't have all those construction vehicles over the long term, right? Dove Creek is a good one to consider. Okay, Dove Creek's most appealing feature is how close it is to Midlothian Community Park. It has 2 builders to choose from. It has D.R. Horton and John Houston Homes. And here you're gonna see again those smaller lot sizes from like 2/10 of an acre up to like 1/3 of an acre. Okay, what do you need to know about Dove Creek? Well, it is further south from 287 than the others we've been talking about so far. And its crowning feature, again, is it's just walking distance to Midlothian Community Park. So why is that important? Well, Midlothian Community Park is awesome. It's like a 110-acre complex, all right? What does it have? Oh my goodness, it has so much. It has, an amphitheater, a splash pad, playground. Get this, 4 sand volleyball courts, 2 basketball courts, and 5 baseball diamond fields, okay? So this is this massive park, and with Dove Creek, okay, you're gonna get affordable, you're gonna get smaller lots, but you're gonna get walking distance, to this park, which for many people is very appealing. Okay, moving on, let's talk about Brandi Ridge, okay? Now, Brandi Ridge is really close to Dove Creek, all right? But they've got some significant differences. So these are 2 options here if you wanna be close to Midlothian Community Park, okay? Brandi Ridge, what do you need to know about it? Very new construction, okay? Really, really new. So if you're going in there and you're like, man, I want to pick out my own lot, right? And I want to be able to get the best. I want to look at it all right. Brandi Ridge is a really good fit. But the flip side of that is you need to know the construction's going to be going on for a while. Brandi Ridge also has up to 1/2 acre lots. Right? So far we've been mainly seeing these really small lots, but Brandi Ridge is different in that it offers up to 1/2 acre, okay? And like I said earlier, it is further south from 287, right? Just like Dove Creek. The 2 builders here are Bloomfield and John Houston Homes, right? And your prices are gonna range from like the 450s to the 650s, so kind of in that price range. So why might you choose Brandi Ridge? Well, it has those oversized lots, right? Anywhere from 1/3 to 1/2 acre. And with new construction, those are hard to come by. Okay, its other big crowning feature is that it's close to Midlothian Community Park. So we've just got a couple of communities there that are so close to really everything that Midlothian Community Park has to offer. Okay, let's turn the corner here. Let's talk about my favorite one, Azalea Hollow. Okay, so some things you need to know about Azalea Hollow. This one is really the farthest north, okay, in an area of Midlothian that isn't developed very often. You've got your area south of 287 where you're going to see a lot of development, a lot of construction. At Azalea Hollow, you're not going to see that, okay? It's nestled into this area that's all custom-built homes where everything is really thickly wooded, okay? It's a very mature section, tall trees, really neat area, okay? So what's going on at Azalea Hollow? Where they're doing luxury custom homes there starting at $500,000, but get this, the lot sizes are 0.65 acres to 2 acres, okay? So why is this one my favorite? Well, you can get big yard, right, with mature trees, okay? They also have a stocked pond there in Azalea Hollows. And I love this part of their website. They specifically say, yes, we're keeping the trees. So that's awesome because really in new construction, it's just so hard to find that. So if you like the idea of an oversized lot, a gated community, these heavily treed areas, you definitely want to consider Azalea Hollow. It really has a lot going for it. Now, tell me the truth, before you watch this video, did you have any idea how much new construction there was south of Dallas? There are literally hundreds of new construction homes. Okay, how about let's do this? How about you come to Texas and we'll go take a look. In the meantime, check out the description section of this video, okay? Because there are 2 things here I want to show you. Okay, first of all, scroll down and you'll find our Let's Find Home questionnaire, okay? Go ahead and fill that out and that helps us get started as your matchmaker. Okay, second thing, we have put together a free Midlothian construction guide just for you. It contains all of the information we discussed today and a whole lot more. So if Midlothian construction is sounding better and better to you, you're going to find everything you need in one place with this guide, right? So all you have to do is click that link just below the questionnaire and we'll send this to you free of charge, like no obligation whatsoever, right? Because that's what Move to Texas guides are all about, right? Well, listen, if you want to get acquainted in a more personal way, right? like read our bios and such, listen, drop on over to our website, okay? Are you ready? It's www.myontrackrealty.com, okay? And hey, if you found this information helpful, hop on over to my YouTube channel and let's get acquainted. And of course, while you're there, hit the subscribe button, and click on that little bell. There are 4 of us here all ready and waiting to help you find your place in Texas. All right, in the meantime, thank you so much again for watching and have a great day.